Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Village of Wheeling for May 5th. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Here.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Here?
Here.
President Argyris?
Here. Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 7th.
So move.
Motion by Trustee Lang.
Second.
Second by Trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Abstain.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. Entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 21st.
So move.
Motion by Trustee Here.
Second.
Second by Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Abstain.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. Changes to the agenda?
Yes, we have one this evening, really more of a notification that the regular meeting will recess after new business item 13A in order to call the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission to order, and will resume following the special meeting.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, proclamations.
Older Americans Month, May 2014. Wheeling is home to a substantial number of citizens aged 60 and above. The Village of Wheeling is committed to helping all individuals live longer, healthier lives. The older adults in Wheeling have made countless contributions and sacrifices to ensure a better life for future generations. We recognize the value of injury prevention and safety awareness in helping older adults remain healthy and active. Recognizing the successes of community elders encourages their ongoing participation and further accomplishments. Our community can provide opportunities to allow older citizens to continue to flourish by emphasizing the need to take action to safeguard themselves from unintentional injuries where they live, work, and socialize. Providing information on avoiding leading causes of injury for older adults: falls, motor vehicle-related incidents, suffocation, medication overdose, and fire burns. Helping older adults take control of their safety and well-being. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, do hereby proclaim May 2014 to be Older Americans Month, and urges every citizen to take time this month to recognize older adults and the people who serve and support them as powerful and vital citizens who greatly contribute to the community.
Thank you. Why don't you read the second one? And I'll have Sherry come up for both.
Okay, National Mental Health Month. Mind Your Health, May 2014. Mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being. All Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives. Prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions. There is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being. Mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation. With effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. Each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental health wellness and support prevention efforts. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, do hereby proclaim May 2014 to be Mental Health Month in Wheeling, and calls upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Wheeling to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health. The steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions.
Thank you. Director Weezer. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Bert. Next one.
National Public Works Week, May 18th to May 24th. Building for today, planning for tomorrow. In 1960, the United States Senate affirmed via resolution the first National Public Works Week, and a presidential proclamation was signed by John F. Kennedy in 1962, designating a 7-day period as National Public Works Week. This year marks the 54th annual National Public Work Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. This year's theme, Building for Today, Planning for Tomorrow, speaks to the never-ending effort of public works professionals to bring their communities the highest possible quality of life. APWA seeks to raise the public's awareness of public works issues and to increase confidence in public works employees who are dedicated to improving the quality of life for present and future generations. Public works infrastructure, facilities, and services are of vital importance to sustainable communities and to the health, safety, and well-being of the citizens of Wheeling. Such facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of qualified and dedicated public works employees who are responsible for planning, building, operating, and maintaining water distribution supplies, storm and sanitary sewers, streets, urban forestry, parks, fleet maintenance of public vehicles, public buildings, and other structures essential to serve our citizens. Public Works also provides critical response capabilities, experience, and support to all levels of city government in time of natural and man-made disasters. It is in the public interest to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in the community. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, to hereby proclaim May 18th through May 24th as National Public Works Week in the Village of Wheeling and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to recognize the contributions public work departments and their employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life.
Thank you. Director Stavros?
Thank you. I'd like to be remiss if I didn't this evening recognize 3 of our key staff members. If they'd please stand up. It's been a rough winter. Chuck Spratt, our fleet superintendent, Mike Bleefreneck, our building superintendent, and Lori Hazelwood, our streets and forestry superintendent. Thank you.
Okay, click it or ticket, May 19th through June 21st, 2014. The safety and security of the citizens of Wheeling and surrounding areas are vitally important. A large percentage of our citizens regularly drive or ride in motor vehicles on our roadways. The use of seat belts in passenger vehicles saved an estimated 12,174 lives in 2012. Regular seatbelt use is the single most effective way to reduce fatalities in motor vehicle crashes. The use of seat belts is supported by the laws of Wheeling. May 19th through June 1st, 2014 has been selected as the National Click It or Ticket Mobilization Enforcement Period. Across the country, law enforcement officers will actively be participating in the mobilization to ensure all motor vehicles occupants are buckled up day and night to reduce the risk of injury and death caused in traffic crashes. Increased enforcement of seatbelt laws coupled with publicity has proven to be an effective method to increase seatbelt use rates and decrease fatal crashes. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, to hereby proclaim and announce May 19th to June 1st, 2014 as the Click It or Ticket Mobilization in Wheeling and urge all citizens to always wear seatbelts when driving or riding on our roadways.
Thank you. Chief Benson? Thanks. Rest of your department, too. Thanks. Huh? Okay. You have an award?
An award for the presentation of shelter advertising program revenue by Stephen Andrews of the Pace Suburban Bus Service.
Hi, Stephen.
Good evening, President Argyris and members of the board. My name is Stephen Andrews. I'm PACE's Community Relations Representative to the Village of Wheeling. And thank you for allowing me a few minutes this evening to recognize the Village for their support of public transportation through your participation in PACE's Ad Shelter program. As a partner in the Ad Shelter program, PACE riders in your community enjoy the comfort and convenience of transit shelters, with the additional benefit of PACE and the Village sharing in the advertising revenue generated by these shelters. This revenue enables PACE to provide and maintain these shelters while maintaining tax dollars for our core services. The program also generates additional revenue for the Village that can be dedicated to your other important public services as well. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the Village and exploring opportunities for additional bus shelters in the community. So on behalf of PACE, I would like to again thank the village and present President Dargeris and the Village of Wheeling with this check for $15,403.75, which is your municipality's share of 2013 advertising shelter revenue. And again, thank you for your participation in the program.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Al Palicki to the Board of Fire and Police Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Hare, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare? President Argyris?
Yes. Entertain a motion to appoint Kathleen Pico to the Senior Citizens Commission.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Hines, second by trustee Hare. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. Administration of votes, please. Kath, want to come up to the podium over there, please? Speak into the mic, okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, hold your right hand, lift your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, Kathleen Pico,
I, Kathleen Pico,
having been appointed to the office of Senior Citizens Commissioner
having been appointed to the office of the Senior Citizen Commission
in the Village of Wheeling,
in the Village of Wheeling,
in the counties of Cook and Lake,
in the counties of Cook and Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Commissioner
and of the office of the Commission
according to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay.
Kathy, on behalf of myself and the board, we want to thank you for taking the time and to volunteer and be part of a great commission. And we're looking forward to some great things with you. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun over there. You're a lively lady, so it's great. Thanks. Sure.
This is
That's
reconfirmation.
Al? Flecky? How many years now, Al, on the commission?
Let's say 7.
7? Well,
Yes.
thanks for giving us 3 more.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, citizens' concerns and comments.
Members of the general public may address the board with concerns or comments regarding relevant issues. The person submitting a petition, concern, or other comment shall be allotted 5 minutes to present their points and should state their name and address for the record. Mr. Heber?
Good evening. My name is George Heber. I live at 237 Cindy Lane. I would just like to thank the board for roasting me. I've been burnt quite a few times, but I've never been roasted. President Argyris, one of these days, I'll get back.
I'm sure you will.
There's another thing I was going to say. Chief Benson, he was talking to me, and he said, did I ever talk about the day I died? Well, I'll make a long story short. I was called up one morning to go do a welfare check on my neighbor from his daughter. So I went over there and did the welfare check and got everything. He was dead, believe me. We learned in CARE Group and in WCPA, AA, and the Citizen Patrol, we have to go every 2 years to get recertified. Even though there is a Good Samaritan law, they do it for us so we can keep knowledgeable of what's taking place. I can ask you right now, how many compressions on a heart attack patient?
How many?
It used to be 15. Now it's 30.
Really?
30 a minute. So you can get awful tired.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful opportunity for anybody who joins these groups that are sponsored by the Village of Wheeling, the CARE, CPA, WCPAA, the Citizen Patrol. They send you to these classes, so you really know and you learn right up-to-date thing. Previously, when you did mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, you did mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Now they got the cup and the tube you blow. So there's so many things that's changed over the years from when I first started this. And I just wanted to get that in there. But anyway, getting back to this guy, it was a good friend of mine. I checked his vital signs, and when you see the vomit come out of the mouth, you know he's dead. There's no resuscitation. We went back and told him. So there was a police officer that came to the house, and she's taken the names of the deceased and the person who found the body. Well, I told her I found the body and gave my name, and I gave the victim's name, and some ways they were transposed. So, oh no, don't laugh.
You came back, George.
Still had to give the money.
Where I'm outside with the family and the paramedics, we're talking, and I see squad cars pulling up by my house, you know. Chief Benson jumps out, John Teven jumps out. There was a lot of them. Wisniewski, I can't forget her, she jumps out. Angela, she comes, and I think the neighbors thought we were having a drug raid or something, you know. But the words that I'll never forget is what John Teven said when we're walking over there. He said, George, I feel regrets for the family of the deceased, but I'm sure glad it wasn't you. And I thank you guys for everything you've done, and hope we can keep going this relationship we've had in the past 2 years now.
At least, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Thank you. Mr. Vito?
President Argyris, members of the board, I'd just like to thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I've been coming to these meetings for several months. I'm not exactly at Mr. Heber's status yet, but I'm working on it. One thing that's always impressed me is the amount of deliberation that goes into a decision that's somewhat disputed among the board. And it's always brought back for another vote, another talk, if the board's divided. And tonight there's that again on two issues, but I'm just going to address the alcohol issue at the Park District now. I was here last time when I heard Mr. Wiebe talk to the board, and he made it pretty clear that, in his opinion, and through the research he did and through talking to people, that having alcohol there, having beer sales there, will bring a lot of teams and a lot of tournaments into the village. And coming to these meetings for the last couple months, I realized that it's a very pro-business, and I thank you for being a pro-business board that likes to bring business and money into the village. And when I heard that, I was a little surprised by the no votes for the sale of beer at the Park District. If it does bring in the teams and the tournaments, as Mr. Wiebe said, these people after these games are then going to go to D'Agostino's and grab a pizza. They're going to go to the Ram and grab another beer. They're going to go to Twin Peaks and tell their wives that they're at the Ram grabbing another beer because they don't want to get in trouble. And so it's going to bring more money to the village. And I read through the ordinance today, the Class O liquor license, and it seems like they put everything, all the concerns kind of, as much as they could, to rest, working with the police department and working out the specifics of it. So I just kind of want to echo something that Trustee Lang had said at the last meeting. The Park District, I think the commissioners should be allowed to kind of do their thing. unlike other commissions, unlike the Plan Commission and other boards, they are elected officials, and they're basically endowed by the fact that they are elected with the right to make decisions on our behalf. And I realize that the decision for an alcohol license ultimately rests with you, but I ask that you give them deference as they've done their research. They've tried their best to make sure that all the concerns have been quieted. And I just think it would be good for the village. I think it would be great to have teams come here and see the gem of the Park District that we have, especially in the summer when the pool's going. I mean, it's one of the greatest things that we have in this village. And then they go hit Restaurant Row to see our other gem. It'll just be good for the village in general. So I hope you consider that tonight when you vote on that resolution. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Anything else?
That's it.
If staff reports, Manager Svandulis.
Thank you. 2 items quickly. The Village of Wheeling and Swank are sponsoring a document destruction electronics recycling event on Saturday, May 10th, 2014, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. only. Rain or shine, the Village of Wheeling is hosting a dual one-day electronics recycling and document destruction event with the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County. The event will be held at Public Works, 77 West Hints Road. There is no cost to residents to attend this event. For information on the electronic items accepted and the amount of documents residents can bring to the event, or for any questions, please contact Public Works directly at 847-279-6903, again 279-6903, or visit the village's website. Second, I'd just like to remind all the residents and businesses that this week the village is switching from Integris to Constellation. For any of you who are participating in the village's electric aggregation program, there should be no disruption in service. It's simply a matter of billing, but just a reminder for those of you who may have gotten a letter from ComEd that says you are being dropped from your current provider, that's all just part of the protocol, and that you're being transitioned seamlessly to Constellation from Integris. If anyone has any questions, you can also contact Public Works at 279-6903.
Thank you. Human Service Director Weezer.
Good evening. Thank you, President Argyris. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everyone in celebration of Older Americans Month to join us on Thursday, May 15th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for an open house and vendor fair at the Wheeling Pavilion Senior Center. Please come and share your suggestions and needs with representatives of the Senior Commission and the Senior Center Advisory Council. We'll have information available on the activities and services available for older adults in Wheeling. Some of the organizations that will be joining us that day that may be of interest include the Indian Trails Public Library, the Wheeling Park District, the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, and the Cook County Board of Review, Wheeling Fire Department, Police Department, and other local organizations. If you have any questions or would like more information, please contact the Wheeling Pavilion Senior Center at 847-459-2670. Thank you.
Thank you. Economic Development Director John Melanthropy.
Thank you, President Argyris. I'd like to just promote a couple of things that we've been involved with lately. The Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce just came out with their community guide and business directory for the village. We partnered with the Daily Herald Media Group to publish the first ever community guide and business directory. Economic development staff and President Argyris contributed to the materials for the guide. 1,700 copies are being direct mailed to businesses in Wheeling and Prospect Heights. This enhances the business climate in Wheeling. There's a whole section on all our economic development efforts. 2,600 copies have been issued to the Daily Herald's area subscribers in the newspaper, and the publication is being prepared for online access via the Daily Herald website as well as the Chamber of Commerce website, and additionally copies are being distributed through community banks, the Wyndham Suites Hotel, Chamber Events, and other community partners such as the Village Hall. They're downstairs on the first floor. Secondly, the Village and the Chamber of Commerce are hosting the Manufacturers Incentive Breakfast on Thursday, May 8th at the Westin Hotel. We'd like to invite all local manufacturers to the upcoming Found Money Seminar. We are working with the Alliance for Illinois Manufacturing. Dan Patlak will be our moderator. Village President Argyris is going to attend, along with Cook County Property Tax Board of Review Commissioner Dan Patlak, as I mentioned, and it's going to be a great event. The Illinois Alliance for Illinois Manufacturing directly assisted over 150 companies to receive $6.3 million in incentives, and they're going to provide a lot of information on these programs. Some of the sponsors of the event include the Village of Wheeling, Wintrust Community Bank, Keith Collins Law Firm, the Chicago Westin North Shore, and the Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce. And finally, I'd like to mention the Wheeling Prospect Heights Golf Outing, which will be held at Chevy Chase on Thursday, July 24th. Is a great event to get out and network with village officials, with area businesses, and have some fun. A nice day on the golf course. And then lastly, the village is working on our Wheeling Town Center, and we placed an ad in the Wheeling Journal Topics newspaper talking about our plans for the former Wicks property. It's going to be the newest Northwest suburban shopping, dining, and entertainment destination, and we are going to attend the largest shopping center convention in the world in Las Vegas, and we have meetings set up with retailers, restaurants, and developers from around the country, and we will market all the village's available sites and shopping centers and restaurants in the community. Thank you.
Thanks, John. You're welcome. Consent agenda?
All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items.
Thank you. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Harris, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 12A?
Public hearing relative to the proposed Town Center 2 Tax Increment Financing District.
The public hearing is now called to order. Opening statement by village manager relative to this being the continuation of the public hearing relative to the proposed Town Center 2 Tax Increment Financing District, which was opened on April 7, 2014. Managers,
That was my statement.
that was yours? Okay, good. And then I will go right to Mr. Melantify there, the Joint Review Board, and final recommendation.
Thank you, President Argyris. The Joint Review Board, or the JRB for short, has not changed their negative recommendation for both the Town Center 2 and the Southeast 2 TIF districts.
Thank you. Impact of the Joint Review Board recommendation, again to you? Same? Jim?
I can handle that. Given the negative recommendation by the Joint Review Board, when the ordinances come before this board, a supermajority will be required. That's equal to 3/5 vote of the corporate authorities. It will take 5 of the 7 village board members to pass the ordinances.
Okay.
That's the impact.
Okay. Public comments? Anybody from the audience wish to speak? George, come on up. Come to the podium, George. I'm sorry.
I lived in the village now for 53 years, and it's been my dream to have Dundee Road developed. We went through this a number of years back. We had all the meetings with the officials and the citizens. We were sent letters to come and participate, give our thoughts and ideas. Personally, I think what's taking place now is a great idea, and I thank your board for getting it moving. It might be in my lifetime yet.
Thanks, George. Thank you. Mary Ann? How are you?
Hi.
Just state your name again.
Mary Ann Ligori, 105 Deborah Lane. I don't want to beat a dead horse, so I'm not going to recap closing arguments, not going to do that. I wanted to echo his comments. I agree, Town Center TIF, great idea, great concept. You know where we stand with the Wolf Run Estates. I have concern with even you having to be in the position to vote on something that has some questions in it, some deceit. I mean, I accused of lies, and I'm not saying to not do this, but that specific item needs to be addressed. The specific item, in and out throughout the whole 154 pages, it's deceitful. It's the way it's designed, and I don't have to remind you, valid and constitutional. And in your gut, you know that there's some issues here. And to push this particular plan, I'm not saying never, I'm not saying 2 years from now, let's take a look at this, and there's lies and there's deceit, and it's designed that way. And I brought this to the attention. I was hoping by now maybe you would have looked into it, and I'm not trying to, no negatives at all, but just that in and of itself, I don't think you should, as trustees, take a vote until that gets cleared up, because it is deemed valid and constitutional, meaning tomorrow this goes to court, and that court is going to, whether it's jury or just judge, or going to find that this is, that enough evidence was presented to you in these claims. I had this whole 20-minute thing. I'm not going to do it. You know, there's some issues with this, and your integrity, your reputations are on the line every time you put an ordinance in. You work very hard. I never paid attention before. I don't think this should even be up to a vote specifically with ours. I don't know if you need to speak with Jim, or if you have, you know, what liability or what the next step will be. We haven't made any steps. We don't have an attorney. There's a reason for it. You didn't pass an ordinance. Truth and facts are what you have to look at. And I would like you to take a look at this, Jim, and you can point out to them, it's pictures of all the houses. I took pictures of the brick, pictures of the backyard. If you see something in there that meets these factors, please share with them.
We have
Okay.
experts have looked at this, and we're confident in their opinion. Unfortunately, we disagree with what you're stating.
That's also a different TIF.
I'm sorry?
We have reports on the south.
There's,
we're not talking
yeah,
about
there's only
that's what she's
pictures of
talking about.
3 homes.
Aren't you talking about the southeast TIF right now?
Yeah, and the simple
Well, right now,
fact.
we're in the town center TIF
Oh,
public hearing. The next one.
okay, I thought
but
it was
it's okay.
combined. Yeah, but
It's
then I'll
okay.
shut up.
No, it's okay.
Same thing. I'm not, I sent you so much, and part of that was because you didn't know. You have enough on your plate. You don't know the ins and outs of everything going on. You are here to make the big decisions. That's also why I think some things need to be stopped at the Planning Commission level, involving the Board of Health, avoiding issues. But integrity, your reputation's on the line, and if you vote something that has deceit, it was accused of deceit, I'm okay to have somebody change my mind, but the simple fact that they just lied. That's it. Okay.
Thanks, Marion. Anybody else from the audience wish to speak? Let the record show nobody else wishes to speak. Staff comments, Mr. Ferrello.
Quickly, action by the village board relative to the ordinances that will establish the town center TIF cannot take place until 14 days from the close of the public hearing, which will be tonight. and they must take place. You must act no later than 90 days from the close of this public hearing. As I indicated, due to the negative recommendation of the Joint Review Board, it will take a vote of 3/5 of the corporate authorities or 5 members of this board to adopt the ordinances. And finally, the consideration of the ordinances to establish the Town Center 2 TIF is scheduled for the June 2nd Village Board meeting. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. Comments from the village board? Anyone? Entertain a motion to close and adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13B? 12B, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay, public hearing relative to the proposed Southeast 2 Tax Increment Financing District.
Thank you. It's now called to order. Opening statement by the village manager, which was you, which I'm going to say again, is relative to this being the continuation of the public hearing relative to the proposed Southeast 2 TIF Tax Increment Financing District, which opened on April 21st, 2014. Joint Review Board meeting and final recommendations, Director Melantefe.
Thank you, President Argyris. The Joint Review Board has not changed their negative recommendation for the Southeast 2 TIF District.
Okay. Public comments? We'll just move it over. The records show that nobody wishes to speak regarding this. Staff comments, we have one from Mr. Ferrolo.
Again, relative to the Southeast 2 Tax Increment Financing District, action by this board cannot take place any sooner than 14 days from the close of the public hearing, which will occur this evening. This board must act within 90 days of the close of the hearing. Because of the negative recommendation, we will need a supermajority of 3/5 of the corporate authorities to pass the establishing ordinances. And finally, consideration of the ordinances to establish the Southeast 2 TIF District is scheduled for the June 2nd Village Board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you.
Any discussion by the board? Entertain a motion to close and adjourn the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Motion by trustee Hines, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13A, Madam Clerk.
13A, new business ordinance amending Chapter 4.32 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, alcoholic liquor dealers, specifically Section 4.32.070, 4.32080, 4.32.085, and 4.32.200, and Chapter 4.08 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, licenses and permits, specifically Section 4.08.140, to create a Class O liquor license for the Wheeling Park District Heritage Park.
Thank you. Manager Spandelos.
Thank you. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
This evening is both a continuation of a discussion from, I guess, starting several months ago, and it is also a request or an opportunity for the board to discuss an ordinance that was created in an attempt to expedite the process should the board agree to move forward with liquor at the Park District. This ordinance was put together based on information that we had received from the Park District from discussions that took place here, and gives the board the opportunity to create a class of license that can then be discussed at the Liquor Commission for formal approval that would give the license to the Park District. So there are a number, I believe 6 questions that are part of the ordinance that we need to go through as we get into the process. And Mr. Webby is here, and he can talk a little bit about a little review on the situation and answer any questions. And I believe is there any presentation or any overheads for tonight? No.
The only overhead was the same one that we used last time, which...
There is. Perfect.
There you go.
So with that, I guess we would turn it over to you to give a little review and then an opportunity for the board to ask questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm again here tonight just to be here to answer any questions that you may have. Since the last meeting, staff has met with village staff, and we have received the information pertaining to the ordinance that's in front of you. We're comfortable with it. We understand that there is some information that needs to be determined. There were a few items highlighted in black that a determination needs to be made, and we can answer any questions or provide any additional opinions or on those items as you see fit. So with that, if there's anything else I can address or answer any questions you may have.
Let me start with the board first, and then we can address these 6 questions, or maybe they can even ask. I'm going to start with Trustee Kruger. Got any questions?
Thank you, Mr. President. No, well, actually, I do have one. On the east, west, and south sections of the concourse, will there be gates? I'm assuming that it...
Yes, at present, right now, there are gates closing off that area. When we do sell beer at an event, those gates will either be completely closed, and if they are open once the full park is open, if they are open, they would be staffed with personnel checking people before they walk into the complex.
Thank you.
Is that it? Trustee here?
I have to abstain from discussion. My daughter works for the Park District per the advice of the corporate counsel.
Thank you. Trustee Lang?
No additional comments. Thank you.
Trustee Hein?
Thank you. I had an opportunity over the weekend to stop by your facility over there a couple of times, and I think you've done a remarkable job in designing something that is absolutely going to be a benefit to not only the park system, but to the entire village of Wheeling, inasmuch as because of the work that we're going to be doing over here at the Wicks property, and what you're doing over there, and when it finally gets all done with the band shelter up and all the things happening over there, it's a great venue, and that's exactly what it is. It's a venue. It's a destination point. It's someplace for people to come to Wheeling, go to one of our fine restaurants on Restaurant Row, and have something to do. I'm looking forward to coming over there on a Saturday, watching some great baseball, and be able to have a beer and a good hot dog. And if you need the recipe for a good hot dog, I think I can handle that.
Trustee Brady?
Thank you. You know, Park District has always been a good friend, good partner in the care of our community, and has done well in what they've accomplished to date. And you know, there's pros and cons to this whole thing from either end of it. There's pros to the fact that yes, it could bring some businesses in, but it might hurt other businesses, because if these teams coming here are fairly local, they're not going to drink and eat in Wheeling. They're going to go back to their sponsor where they get free beer or whatever the case may be. You know, the traffic, the lights, all these other things, there's pros and cons, but it comes down to one thing. When I talk to the people in the community who are the owners of the park, just like they are this building and everything else that we all work for them, is the majority of them say no. And I'm going to have to, unfortunately, follow that.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Vogel?
Just one question. Mr. Hein brought it up, and it jogged my memory. Right now, you're saying the consumption's going to be limited to the concourse area?
Yes.
Around that. What about once the band shelter's open? Are you looking to expand into other areas? I mean, if you got a rock band out there, won't you consider down the road?
Not at this time, we're not considering that. If the opportunity arises, we may consider, but that's not on the plans at this time.
Okay, so there's no plans for any expansion 2 years, 5 years from now? I know it's not an easy question to answer, but...
Well, that's not why we're here tonight to talk about that. There have been internal discussions about what we would like to do for the future, but no formal determination's been made.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Matt, let's go over the concerns that should be attached to this ordinance if it is approved. Containers permitted. We've got cans, bottles, or both, or...
Right now, we're looking at plastic bottles.
Plastic bottles?
Plastic bottles, yep.
Okay. Trustee Kruger, you want to piggyback on that one?
Yeah, thank you. I did a little Google question and asked what is more recyclable, aluminum or plastic? And I did find an article that basically states that aluminum is more recyclable, that 50% of aluminum can waste is utilized based on the EPA reports, and I know it's 2009, but this was the best facts and figures I could find. And plastic, though it is recyclable as well, it uses about 70% less energy than creating new plastic materials, and the process for recycling plastic is much more intense than aluminum. And I was thinking it might even be cheaper for you as far as a purchase price for aluminum as opposed to plastic. But my recommendation would be for aluminum, and then perhaps you could consider compactor, those solar-powered compactors or something that reduces the space. I'm just trying to think we should be as green as we possibly can if we're going to add more to the landfills of the world.
I think from the Park District standpoint, as it pertains to this ordinance, if the ordinance wanted to say cans and/or plastic bottles, that would allow us the opportunity to use either or, so we can look into it. Or if the ordinance just wants to say that the license may only sell beer, no glass container shall be permitted, that would allow us the flexibility to do either or.
I think I could be okay with that.
Okay.
As long as you consider it from a green perspective.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely.
So we'll have both. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Alcoholic beverages permitted per customer per transaction. 1 or 2?
We request 2.
We would like 1.
Okay.
I mean, you see it elsewhere. I mean, I've gone to places where I try to buy a beer for my wife and bring her here. Where is she? They won't give me 2.
I understand that, and I
Okay with that?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
isn't there a provision in the Illinois State Code that specifies that there can be just one beverage consumed, bought by one person?
Per transaction.
I think
I have to be honest, I don't have that information off the top of my head that I would have to verify.
I'm not aware of any such restriction. You can restrict it in this class, but I'm not aware of a state law restriction to that effect.
Okay. Well, let's get a consensus from the board. Trustee Brady, 1 or 2?
1.
Trustee Kruger?
1.
Can't go to trustee here. Trustee Hein?
I'm
1 or
sorry.
2?
1.
Trustee Vogel?
I see no problem with 2.
Trustee Hein?
Agreed, 2.
Oh, here we go again.
2 twos.
So we're 3. I like to see 1, so let's go with 1. Let's try it.
Okay.
Okay? And then the next one, the minimum age of employees selling, serving alcohol beverages. We got 18 or 21. We like to see 21.
That's what we have.
Okay. Requirement for presence of security personnel. Assuming always you're going to have.
We will always have adult personnel and our park security staff. Outside security, as the event warrants and dictates, the Park District would bring in outside personnel for our larger events. This is one of the items we had spoken with the police department on for your larger activities where you're going to be bringing in several teams and having larger crowds, that would be appropriate. However, to have outside security for league nights on a Thursday evening or a smaller type tournament on a Saturday didn't seem to be necessary.
Okay. Chief Benson, has that been defined at all between you and the Park District and how
Yes.
that would head?
And the small events, I don't believe that police security would be necessary. They have their park CSOs. And the larger events, we agreed that we would meet, discuss, and pretty much play it by ear in the beginning.
And then give their recommendation, your
Correct.
recommendation to them regarding a huge.
Yes, sir.
event? Okay, so you're good with that?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Excuse me. When I look at the draft of the ordinance, item number 7 says that the license shall have an adult manager and security and the rest of it. Adult manager is also 21?
Yes, if we are serving alcohol, we will have a 21-year-old on duty.
Do we think that Jim, maybe that needs to state that it should be 21, or does it say
I think we can add that. And security would come out, that's a bracketed option at this point. I guess on security, can I get some clarification?
Sure.
Are we saying we want to include language that security will be required as stated by the Wheeling
Police Department, yes.
So that
It clarified that if you have to go out and get extra security, it's basically on your dime to get that extra security for a major event.
But if the Wheeling Police Department calls for security based on the event, this ordinance is going to require that the Park District get that extra
And
security.
I think he said that they were going to do that.
Right, yes.
Right. Okay?
Thank you.
Hours during alcohol beverages can't be sold. Your recommendation is what, Mr. Webby?
Our recommendation was to begin at 10 a.m. and conclude by 9 p.m. On the advice of the police department.
And I think the advice of the board, and I'll get a consensus from it, would be starting at 12 to 9. And I'll get a consensus. Trustee Brady?
Starting with
12
12?
to 9.
12 to...
Start,
Yeah.
you can only sell alcohol from the hours of 12 to 9 versus 10 to 9.
I'm all right with that.
Trustee Kruger?
I'm good with that, too.
Trustee Hine?
I think it's too late. The 12 o'clock opening is much too late.
Okay. Trustee Vogel?
I'm okay with it,
Which one, 12 to 9?
12 to 9.
Okay, and Trustee Lang?
10.
And I'll go 12 to 9. So, got it? Licensing fee. Want to touch base on that one, Mr. Frohl?
We haven't talked about it, but there's an item on the agenda tonight relative to the Class E license that talks about that fee being reduced to $1,000 because of the nonprofit nature of the entities that receive a Class E license. This is a similar license in that regard. This is obviously a not-for-profit entity. That might be similar to, it's the best analogy we have, I suppose, in our code, the Class E license.
Well, how about the A1 license? A fast food facility that just sells beer. I think it's $17.50, isn't it?
Yes, I can confirm that. Pull the code up.
That'd probably be in line as well, wouldn't you think? The A1?
It's similar in terms of the sales.
Right. Trustee Kruger, what do you think about that?
I know that the Class C application that the Park District originally filled out was really not appropriate.
Right.
But to me, it says that the Park District was prepared to pay the $2,500 that goes along with the Class C. I'd rather see maybe $1,750 to go along better with a, hot dog and a beer place.
Right.
And, $2,500 initial fee.
So a $2,500 initial fee and a $1,750 annual renewal.
Correct.
Trustee Brady?
Fine.
Trustee Hine?
Fine.
Trustee Vogel?
Fine.
Trustee Lang?
I see more as a nonprofit, but that's, so no, not.
No? Okay. And I'll go with the $2,500 initial fee, then a $1,750 a renewal. Only because I think we spent a lot of time on this, whatever. You want to recap this before I entertain a motion?
Certainly. I think if we can handle this in two motions, the first motion being a motion to amend the ordinance, and the second motion being a motion to approve the ordinance as amended. I think it'll be cleaner that way. So the first motion, if I can try to craft that, would be a motion to amend the ordinance to include the following changes. First, that the containers permitted will include both cans and plastic bottles. Secondly, that the maximum number of beers that can be purchased by a patron is 1 at any given time.
Per transaction.
Per transaction. Third, that the minimum age of servers will be the age of 21. Fourth, that at all times there will be an adult manager present who is at least 21 while liquor sales are being made. And additionally, to the extent the Wheeling Police Department calls for additional security, the liquor licensee shall abide by that request. The next change would be the hours of operation being 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. And is that every day?
Yes.
And the last change would be the liquor license fee amount being a $2,500 initial fee and a $1,750 annual renewal fee. Can we get a motion, please?
Entertain a motion, please.
So move.
Motion by trustee Hein.
Second.
Second by trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Abstain.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you.
And the next will be a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
So move.
Motion by trustee Hein.
Second.
Second by trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
No.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Here?
Abstain.
President Argyros?
Yes. Entertain a motion to recess our regular meeting to go into the Liquor Commission meeting.
So move.
Motion by trustee Hein.
Second.
Second by trustee Lang. Roll call.
Trustee Lang. Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
The special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for May 5th, 2014 is now called to order. Roll call, please.
I need a second, just a
Sure.
second.
Your time.
Okay. Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Here?
Here.
Commissioner Argyros?
Chairperson Argyros here. Approval of the minutes for special meeting April 7th, 2014.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Here,
Second.
second by Commissioner Kruger. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hein?
Abstain.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Here?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of April 21st.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Here, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hein?
Abstain.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Here?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes, thank you. New business 5A.
In consideration of a class liquor license for Wheeling Park District 333 West Dundee Road.
Thank you. Manager Svandelis, you want to open it?
I really have nothing to add, other than this is the formal granting of a license to the Park District for your consideration, based upon the Class O liquor license that was just created by the Village Board.
Thank you. Attorney Ferrello, there are some conditions with the motion that should be attached. Is that correct?
We actually-
It's
go ahead.
just for payment in full.
Yes, go ahead.
Payment in full of associated liquor license fees.
All the background checks and all that stuff?
All the background checks have been done. Everything was submitted with the original license application.
Mr. Webber, you got anything to add to it? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hines, second by Commissioner Lang. Roll call.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
No.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
After much deliberation, I'm off the bubble, yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
No.
Commissioner Here?
Abstain.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Good luck, fellas.
Thank you much.
Next one.
Yes, please, 5B.
In consideration of a Class L liquor license for Signature Flight Support, 1098 South Milwaukee Avenue, for 3 events to be held May 10th, 2014, and 2 to be determined. Dates to be determined.
Thank you. Manager Svandelis.
Thank you. This is for a Class L liquor license for Signature Flight Support. All supporting documents have been submitted, are in good order, and we can answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions from the board? Entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Here,
Keynote speaker, Tom Brokaw.
second by Commissioner Kruger. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Here?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes, thank you.
If I can just add, I'm going to spare everyone me reading the Class L liquor license, but just be aware that, of course, you're subject to it, and that in addition to the conditions and qualifications specific to this license class, all Wheeling liquor license holders must comply with all provisions of the Wheeling Municipal Code and are responsible for being familiar with those provisions.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Vogel. Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Entertain a motion to reconvene into open session.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Hein. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. 13B.
13B1, public hearing regarding an ordinance vacating a certain portion of Mayor Avenue.
Thank you. Attorney Ferrello.
Thank you. This vacation public hearing comes to you as a result of the property exchange agreement entered into with the Swaminarian Temple. The exchange agreement provides for the transfer by the village of approximately .181 acres of land near the temple, including the portion of Mayor Avenue that's before you tonight, in exchange for .559 acres of land to be transferred to the village and additional compensation. This public hearing will allow members of the public to comment on the proposed vacation of a portion of Mayor Avenue in size of approximately 4,000 square feet. After the public hearing is closed, you will be considering an ordinance to vacate Mayor Avenue. Vacation will be conditioned upon the land exchange being completed with the temple and all proper compensation being paid.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the audience wish to speak based on this topic? The records show that nobody wishes to speak. Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel, Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. 13B2.
Ordinance vacating a certain portion of Mayor Avenue.
Attorney Ferrello.
Thank you. As stated, this ordinance will effectively vacate the portion of Mayor Avenue discussed during the public hearing. Again, this vacation will only be completed once the land sale or the land transfer has been closed with the temple.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. 13C.
Public hearing regarding request for Cook County Class 6B property tax exemption from Himano Properties LLC contract purchaser.
Thank you. Attorney Ferrello.
Actually, I think this is Mr. Malanofi. Thank you.
Sorry, John. Next.
Thank you, Village Attorney Ferrello and President Argyros. An application for a Class 6B property tax classification has been submitted by Himano Properties for 2399 Foster Avenue and has been placed on the agenda for consideration. The applicant would be purchasing the property to lease to a manufacturing company, Winston Engineering, LLC. The purchaser will acquire and lease the 10,880 square foot industrial building to this prospective tenant, and they are located in Bartlett, Illinois. They would be relocating to the village of Wheeling. This building was built in 2000 for a specific business, and 60% of the of the facility is furnished office space, and only 40% is for warehouse. It also does not contain a truck dock, and so there's these physical and functional characteristics have made it difficult to lease this facility, and so it has been vacant since, let me get the date here for you, since December 17, 2012, and it's been 100% vacant, and it's already been receiving property tax vacancy relief from the Cook County Assessor's Office. Winston Engineering currently employs 5 full-time positions at their existing facility, and if they came to Wheeling, they would potentially hire 10 temporary construction jobs and transfer their existing workers here to Wheeling and hire an additional 2 full-time workers over the next 2 years. So they have provided projections that their total workforce would be 10 full-time over the next 5 years based on current growth patterns. Village staff has reviewed the application, and we recommend approval of the Class 6B tax classification with special circumstances.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a public hearing. Anybody from the audience wish to speak? Let the record show that nobody wished to come forward. Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Here,
Second.
second by trustee Hine. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13C2.
Resolution consenting to a Cook County Class 6B real estate tax assessment classification for the property located at 2399 Foster Avenue in the Village of Wheeling, Illinois.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here this evening? Yes. Why don't you come forward here, please? Pardon me? Yes. Please introduce yourselves. Thanks.
My name is Brian Berry. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Storino, Romello, and Durkin on behalf of the applicant. I also have with me Rich Gerard, who is an attorney and an agent on behalf of the purchaser.
Okay.
And Mark Baumert, who is a licensed real estate broker who represents the seller.
Okay, good. Any questions from the board? Trustee Brady?
Brief description of what this new leasee is going to be doing in the building, manufacturing.
I could probably answer that. Rich Gerard, because I represent both the tenant, future tenant, who is the engineering firm that you're referring to, and the owner. The firm is already involved in this business. There's a relatively new technology. RAS is what it's referred to, but that's an acronym for recycled asphalt shingles. It's been around in Indiana and Wisconsin before this, but it's only started in Illinois about 3 years ago. And what this process is literally it's the asphalt shingles off of the roofs of the houses, and they're chopped into consistency, and then I'll explain briefly what they have to do. But what happens is they take that material, they recycle it into asphalt. It turns out that their shingles are 28 to 32 or 34% petroleum and a high-grade aggregate, and also a binding material, which all happens to be perfect for putting into asphalt. So over the last 3 years, the IDOT has approved it for use. The Tollway Authority, the City of Chicago, a lot of municipalities, and some actually require it now because it's a 99% recycled material. And now, right now, they've brought it up to several 100,000 tons a year go back into asphalt and recycling instead of into landfills to fill up the landfills. So it's a real win-win situation. It's almost completely recyclable. It's only one of the few sustainable that sustains itself, completely green technologies, doesn't need any subsidies. And literally what this company does is in this process, there's testing. Depending on where you put the pavement and what type of use it's going to and what time of year it is, there's different mixes and formulas and things that have to be put together and designed. They actually have a design mix for each use. And they have to test the gradients, and then afterwards they have to test it again. So what this firm does, it's testing the materials to make sure they're the proper gradient and the proper mix. It's designing the mixes, and then this is, since it's also new, they've doing a lot of research over the last 3 years in designing new materials. They've learned to mix it with RAP, which is recycled asphalt material, and it actually now turned out it's a higher quality product. It goes down easier, it lasts longer, because the petroleum and the aggregates in RAS is such a high quality that it actually improves the product. So it's research, design, and testing is what this company will do almost exclusively for the RAS product.
So the actual stockpiling of the shingles or the grinding or all that stuff or the, conforming it into the liquid, that's not done here?
No, none. There's no processing here at all. Good. It's only testing and designing material. A lot of it's done by computer.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Those are my questions.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Brady.
Second.
Second by trustee Lang. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. Wish the new owners good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. 13D.
Resolution authorizing the village president clerk to execute a non-binding term sheet for the Riva development property known as Northgate Crossing, compromising a part of the proposed town center to redevelopment project area, TIF district of the village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois.
Thank you. Director Melanti.
Thank you, President Argyris. The village has negotiated a non-binding term sheet between the village and Riva Development for the property commonly known as the former Kenny construction site at 250 Northgate Parkway. The nearly $50 million Northgate Crossings development envisions approximately 288 luxury apartment units with 9 buildings and 32 units per building. The village board is being asked to consider a resolution approving the non-binding term sheet with Riva Development for Northgate Crossings. Northgate Crossings is a transit-oriented development project that will be part of the town center master plan, and this term sheet sets forth the concepts that lay the groundwork for the redevelopment agreement that will govern the redevelopment of the former Kenny construction property. The TIF request was reviewed by the village's TIF consultant, Kane McKenna and Associates, and they concluded that the TIF request is justified based upon the rate of return analysis. Economic development staff is recommending approval of the non-binding term sheet between the village and Riva Development. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the board? No questions from the board? Mr. Nix, you're here. You want to add anything to this? Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lang.
Second.
Second by trustee Hare. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. Good luck. 13E.
E, granting special use and associated site plan approval for a truck rental facility within an existing industrial building at 300 Marquette Drive, docket number 2014-7.
Thank you. Director Janik.
Thank you. The petitioner is requesting a special use for a U-Haul facility at 300 Marquardt, which is an industrial area in the south part of Wheeling. The expectation for the U-Haul is to have 4 to 8 vehicles total, typically 4 rental vehicles at a time, and the expectation is to rent 2 to 3 vehicles a day. It's not a very high volume, but they do need special use for outdoor storage in this location.
Okay. And I believe there's 5 conditions.
That's correct.
This ordinance, you want to read them for the record, please?
Number 1, that the rental trucks allocated to the site shall be no greater in size than the 17-foot box truck with a total bumper-to-bumper length of 24 feet. That the operation is limited to a maximum of 8 vehicles and may not include trailers or 26-foot trucks. Number 3, that the hours of operation may be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. Number 4, that if larger trucks are dropped off, the vehicles shall be parked in order to maintain the drive aisles and not overhang onto the adjacent property. Number 5, that the petitioner shall confirm that the lighting reaches the designated parking area and does not spill onto adjacent property.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner here? Why don't you come to the podium? Any questions from the board?
Just one question.
Trustee Lang?
On the hours of operation, Mark, maybe you can share on this. Why 10 a.m. as the early side? I think if someone's going to rent a truck, they might want to do it early in the day. But I didn't read through completely.
Yeah, I think the petitioner would probably want to answer that question.
Please do. Your name, please?
Kerry Ciccernio on behalf of the petitioner. Those are simply the hours of operation that the petitioner had requested because it is such a relatively small operation. The 9 o'clock would be on the weekend on Saturday, but during the business hours, Monday through Friday, it would be 10 o'clock.
Okay. I just thought it might have been some limitation put on you. It didn't seem to make sense. Okay, I'm good with that.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lang,
Second.
second by trustee Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. 13F.
Resolution approving a one-year contract renewal with Denler Incorporated for the jointly bid 2014 crack sealing service.
Thank you. Director Janik.
Thank you. Last year, the village contracted with the subject company, Densler, to fill in cracks within asphalt and concrete roadway areas of the village. The contract last year had an option to renew the contract for this year, and the village is requesting that the board approve the extension of the contract for 2014. We are also proposing to increase the amount we're spending this year from $125,000 to $150,000.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board?
So moved.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Brady, second by trustee Krueger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13G.
Resolution accepting a proposal from Hager Engineering LLC for consulting services for the Wolf Road Waterman Repair Project.
Thank you. Director Janik.
Thank you. Hager Engineering won a bid from the village to design water main in the village in 2014. This contract is for $18,450, and it is relative to water main work that needs to be done on South Wolf Road. As you might remember, this winter there was a water main break at the corner of Dundee and Wolf Road. Everything was taken care of. We capped off that main, but the result of that is that the village found out that there was a way to abandon a substantial amount of old water main and use an existing larger water main on the east side of Wolf Road to continue service to businesses and residences in that area. This contract would be for Hager to design design the service connections and the use of the existing water main on the east side of Wolf Road.
East side of Wolf Road. We're talking over by Dundee and Wolf there?
Yes, south of Dundee on Wolf Road.
Okay. Any questions from the board? We're going to entertain a motion. Trustee Brady's got
Just
something.
one. Will this take into consideration the widening of Wolf Road later on?
Yes, it will, yes. It's an existing water main in the roadway right now. The important part about this project is that we are abandoning older water main, and hopefully this will result in less breaks on South Wolf Road.
Good, thank you. So moved.
Hold on one second before I entertain that motion. There's a condition.
Yes, I'd just like to add that a condition be added upon final approval that the village attorney review all of the remaining contract documents. We had some information today. We just want to make sure that Jim has an opportunity to give his final blessing before letting the contract.
It's mainly relative to insurance, professional liability insurance.
And I just got real quick. What's the timeline on getting that repaired once this goes through on everything?
This summer. I mean, we'd like to get this contract approved, obviously. They'll start doing the design work, and we're hoping to have this done sometime in the summer, be done by early fall.
But then you need to go out, don't you, and get us a price or an RFP regarding the bid?
That's correct. That's correct.
So that's what I'm saying. By the time the final product is done, how long are we talking, a year?
No, it'll be done this year. We almost have to have this done. There's IEPA requirements relative to this water main. We can't have it capped off for very long. We'd like to fast track this and get this done as soon as possible.
Okay. Is there anything we can do regarding that site right now, the way the condition is? I mean, with the bumps there and the way it looks it's a mess.
Yes, that's part of our roadway improvement for this year as well,
Just
to repair that.
Smooth it out a little bit, that's all. Maybe just clean it up. Okay. It's getting worse now, that's why. Okay, motion by trustee Brady.
Second.
With the condition. Second by trustee.
With the condition.
Here. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you.
Item
H.
Ordinance amending Chapter 4.08 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, licenses and permits, specifically Section 4.08.140.
Thank you. Manager Spondelos.
Thank you. There was some discussion and then a recommendation by the village president to amend this ordinance, specifically the amount of money that it costs for some not-for-profits to hold a liquor license. The recommendation would be to reduce the fee from $1,500 down to $1,000. At present, there are only two organizations that hold this license. That would be St. Joseph the Worker Church and AMVET's Philip Carpenter Post 66. Those are the only two that are affected by it. And to be clear, this is both the Class E and Class EV, which is the same as Class E, but with video gaming.
Thank you.
I can answer any questions.
Trustee Vogel?
Abstain.
Thank you. Trustee Brady?
I have to abstain too.
Thank you. Any questions from the rest of the board? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Lang, second by Trustee Hare. Roll call.
Trustee Hein,
Yes.
Trustee Brady,
Abstain.
Trustee Lang,
Yes.
Trustee Kruger,
Yes?
Trustee Vogel,
Abstain.
Trustee Here,
Yes.
President Juris.
Yes, thank you. 13I.
Discussion regarding Meadow Lane improvement options.
Thank you. Manager Spondelos.
Thank you. This evening, we continue the discussion about Meadow Lane that has been brought to the board twice previously, once on November 12th of 2012, and then again December 16th of 2013, to discuss the opportunities that are available on Meadow Lane for the creation of compensatory storage for use in another area throughout the village. There will be many more details to come during a presentation. However, we wanted to give the board the opportunity to hear from the petitioner, because there is a contract that the staff has sought. We bid out a project on Meadow Lane. There are two options, but before we bring the contract for your approval, we wanted to let you hear from the petitioner, who has an idea about expanding the scope of that contract and how that expansion would affect their property. So with that, Mr. Shapiro, I think you'll be speaking on behalf of the petitioner.
Thank you. My name is Dan Shapiro. I'm with the law firm of Robin Solomon Pat. I'm here representing Mark Smith and Jim Kanzler. And I think I can still see, even though the lights are dim. Also tonight is Cliff Torberman, our civil engineer. We appreciate you putting us on the agenda. About 2 weeks ago, I sent a letter which gave an introduction of this particular issue. I sent it to the village attorney, and I trust that you received that letter in your packet. But just by way of background, I believe that this project was let 30 to 45 days ago, and in the bid, there were two alternatives with respect to the comp storage. There was alternate A and alternate B. Alternate A was a smaller scope, alternate B was a larger scope, and with that obviously is a price differential. There are a couple of things we'd like to have you consider tonight. One is alternate B, which obviously makes the comp storage deeper and larger, and that is alternate B comes with a bid price of $871,655. Now, why are we suggesting that the alternate B be awarded to Kanzler? It is because by allowing that bid to be awarded, the materials taken from that property with the village, which the village owns, can be transported to, as you see on your screen, the Prairie Preserve, which is 17 plus acres. The materials from the comp storage need to go someplace. And so to allow the materials, the good materials to go there would allow for the site, that site, to become more ready and available for development in the future. So it really is like killing two birds with one stone, to allow for the materials from the comp storage area, the village parcel, to be then transported over to Prairie Preserve. Now, what we are suggesting is that Mr. Kanzler would agree to dig that even deeper and larger on his own dime, which is a cost of $210,000. Again, allowing those materials to be transported over to a prairie preserve to make that site more ready for future development. And again, it's we think, beneficial for everybody. It's beneficial, obviously, to Mr. Kanzler, it's beneficial to the village, it's beneficial to the property owner, that being the Smith family. And why? It's because that's what it will take to make that property ready. So the next question is, well, how do you get the materials there? How do you get the 3,000 truckloads of materials there? One way is to go through the Picardy development. That is a route that takes about 10 minutes to get around and about, get onto Lake Cook, and then dump the materials back to the Smith parcel. We've taken a look at that, and that's about a 10-minute ride, and that passes about 125 residences. A disturbance to the neighborhood. Another way of doing it, which I think will flip to that, thank you, is through the kind of beige route that you see there in the middle of your screen, and that's a truck haul route, and then a temporary bridge over the diversion channel. That obviously reduces the impact to the neighborhood, reduces the disturbance to the neighborhood, allows for the materials to be more directly and quickly transported. And Mr. Smith certainly is owner of that property and would consent for the trucks to go through there. The bridge itself is something that would need further discussion, but with the embankment and the bridge, that is about $154,000 cost. We view that as ultimately beneficial to the village for the reasons that I stated, given the alternate truck route. Now, as part of this also is the comp storage credits, and we're asking that the comp storage credits be awarded to this development. It's very, very important that the village recognize that and that those credits be awarded for this particular project. There has been some discussion about the precise location of the bridge that we're showing on the haul route. That location is our best guesstimate, as you see there now. But as we get closer to engineering, as we get more final with the plans, that can be tweaked to minimize disturbances or to minimize going through a pond. We can tweak the route a little bit and tweak the bridge. We would work closely with village staff to make sure that that would happen. So, in all, what we're asking is for you to just think about the award of the bid, alternate B, as part of the award of the bid to provide credits, allow for the materials to be then transported with a deeper compensatory storage area on the village property over to the 17.7 acres to allow for that site to be readied. The village's consideration in paying for the bridge, which will avoid the disturbance to Picardy and to those 125 residences. That's a lot of stuff, and we understand that. I hope that the letter gave you something to think about interim. And if it's the pleasure of this board, what Mr. Ferrolo and I can do on a very expedited basis is we can work out a redevelopment agreement or a development agreement, which would memorialize all of this and to make sure that the village is comfortable and make sure that we are writing and memorializing our obligations and vice versa. We're certainly available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Trustee Brady?
Yeah, I see a lot of waste, in the bridge and all of this to get that dirt over there. And I wish there was another way to get it from point A to point B without going through a neighborhood or without tearing up something we just finished building. But something came to mind today when I was studying this. Years ago, I was with my family, we were taking a road trip somewhere south in Kentucky or something like that, and we were off the interstate on a secondary road, and there was a conveyor running alongside the road, and I mean that conveyor ran for 5 miles. And it was some sort of mining operation that they were digging way off someplace, and they needed to store it somewhere else, and they used a conveyor, a 5-mile conveyor. Why couldn't we do something like this? Save the money of a bridge, and the haul road, the bridge would be the cheap part of this by the time you get done digging your haul road and restore it afterwards. You're going to need a machine at either end of the operation anyways to load the trucks and to spread it after you unload it. You had a conveyor that could be running as long as they're digging and take the dirt coming off, the dirt coming off at the other end and take it from there. Just a food for thought, a way to look at it. I don't know. I'm all for this getting this detention in. I think we need it. I think I would, if we're going to do it, let's do it deep and make sure that everything, our needs are covered over in that area. And I don't know, whatever they're asking to entertain to help in any way with this here, I think we should consider it.
Well, we'll certainly look into it. My guess is, Trustee Brady, that the conveyor system, as you were mentioning, we'll look into it, but my guess is it's cost prohibitive. But we'll certainly look into it. I don't want to say something that I'm over my skis about, but I will pledge she will look into it.
It certainly be handled a lot more temporary than the bridge. It don't need any base or anything. You just,
I don't even know if this...
Yeah, maybe. Okay, it might not work.
I'm just a lawyer, not the engineer, so I don't want to...
Anyways, whatever happens there, this is all for that 17 acres as far as I'm concerned. That's the key, to get that ready to start getting some action, somebody interested in it, to sell it and get some retail in there. We've talked over a year now about the permanent bridge. And, I was told today that, the permanent bridge over by getting into that 17 acres is probably a year and a half away because we haven't even started making application yet for a permit for it, which we've been talking about this. We know the village is going to have to put that bridge in. That's why I was so disappointed, because we could use this $150,000 towards that, but we can't because it'll tie up the whole thing. Secondly, that piece of property, that's 17 acres right now, is already a mountain of dirt. Part of it black dirt, part of it clay, whatever it is. I understand that part of that clay, or maybe most of the clay, or all of the clay that's on there, is going to be used eventually on that piece of property. Whatever we're taking off of this, putting it there, it's being used as a storage area, and I don't want to happen what happened to us this last year, where it ended up to be a spot where one of the owners was selling black dirt off of it all summer, and we had the dust and the dirt along the roadways all summer long. I'd like to see this thing done and done quickly. So if I was ever going to agree to it, and whatever we have to do in the way of an agreement with us or them, is that whatever happens by October, the end of October, that site has got to be on grade, ready to go.
I can tell you that in speaking with both Mr. Smith and Mr. Cancer this afternoon, they want to move as quickly as possible. And if by the end of the construction season, I see no reason why this can't be done.
There's so many things as you drive around being developed this range, of size, the car dealers, stores, everything else. It would be a shame to miss the boat on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lang?
Thank you. I'm definitely in favor of the second alternative, where deeper and bigger, and do whatever it takes to prep that area, that 17 acres, because that has some great potential to it. Trustee Brady brought up some great points about the bridge and a few other things with that property as well. But yeah, I'd like to move forward on that. There's one other point. I might have to get back to you on it.
Okay. Trustee Hein?
We're actually almost doubling the storage volume by doing this with the alternative two. So I think it's a win-win. I'm all for it.
Trustee here?
I too am in favor of it, but I do have a couple other additional questions. I think, obviously, Kanzler's set up shop there at Lake Cook in Milwaukee, and I hope that we can put in there that once this is done, they move on their way, because we've had this conversation the last time, that they were going to be their only temporary, and temporaries turned into almost 2 years. And I understand it, I get it. And I would like also with the bridge, maybe we work something out with him as well, along with the village. Yes, but I'm 100% behind this. I think it's important that we get this project shovel-ready, as some would say on the board as well, because it's a beautiful project, and I just want to see it completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. I understand that this discussion topic is for alternative 1, which provides 7.3 acre feet. Alternate 2, that provides 13.8 acre feet and a pump. And then alternate 3, which is what you're presenting to us now, right? And how much acre feet?
Net 23.3.
And I'm not sure who this question should be addressed to, but in the event of the 23.3, obviously.
I think it's 23.3 or 23.6, but yeah.
We'll need a pump. I mean, a bigger pump? Bigger pump than for alternate 2?
Now, and I think that's correct. So what we've thought about that, and you're right on with that. The pump would be located on the property that's currently owned by the village. And if the village desires for us to own that property so that you don't have to, that's fine. I don't know what practical use the village may have for that property, but that's certainly something that we can throw into a development agreement if that's agreeable. With respect to the pump, we can maintain it, again, if the village wants us to. If the village does not want us to, that's okay too.
Well, then we maintain it, right?
Yeah.
And our Public Works has to take care of that.
Right.
I'm going to mull that over. As far as the bridge, the creation of the bridge is Mr. Kanzler's idea. A temporary bridge was not part of the original scope of the bid process.
Right.
So I guess maybe simply, how is that fair to the other bidders? That they didn't know that the potential of not driving all the way around and saving all that time.
Well, I'm not sure it's a question of fairness. It's certainly a question of trying to reduce the impact to the neighborhood. And I suppose that anyone who bid on this project is as sophisticated and knowledgeable as Mr. Kanzler, and certainly could have approached that. Now, it's something that I know that the lawyers could try to figure out in terms of the legalities of the bid, but we wanted to propose that as a way that we think would just benefit everybody. Whether that would be bid separately, or whether that would be something that we can put our minds to that doesn't have to be separately, I think we can work together on that.
I'm okay with you guys working that out and letting me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trustee Kruger, relative to the pump you asked about, however that's worked out in the development agreement, I think what you're getting at is, if we maintain ownership of that property, why should we take on the expense of maintaining the pump? And what we talked about, hopefully this is what you were thinking about, what we talked about is several options. They could maintain the pump, and we could have a letter of credit posted in the event that they fail to meet their obligations. We could draw on the letter of credit. The village can maintain the pump, and they can pay for the cost of maintenance in terms of time of our public works people. Again, probably a letter of credit to secure that responsibility. So we did talk a little bit about that idea. The third option being what Dan mentioned, at some point perhaps the village would be interested in no longer owning that property and transferring title. So we're on that issue and trying to cover all aspects of it.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure.
Can I ask a question related to that, Jim?
Yes.
If that pump fails, what property is affected? Just this property, right?
I asked that question this morning, and it sounded like that was or this afternoon, that's the answer from, Mr. Stavros is nodding his head.
So, so it would behoove them to own it. It would take a load off of ours, and we wouldn't be, lacking protecting anybody else around there.
It may be the best way to go, Trustee. Thank you.
Well, hi, Cliff Toberman, civil engineer. Regarding the pump is only to pump the deeper, if it's being excavated deeper to get the additional volume, will only be required for, the bottom half of that excavation. So therefore, even if it fails, no one's flooded. The water stays down. It's almost like your sump pump. Well, I shouldn't say that. Your sump pumps do flood in your house. But no, it stays deep. And as the water would build up for any reason, there is gravity storm sewer that will be installed as part of this project that does discharge today to the William Rogers diversion channel.
You'd be back to Plan A.
So basically, your Plan A with water that builds up, but it literally drains by storm sewer, by gravity. So there's no danger whatsoever to any other properties in that event.
Right. Thank you. Trustee Vogel?
If we go, and I think you mentioned 23 acre feet, whatever it was, 23 plus, is that enough now for that 17 acres of development?
The net 23 acre feet would allow for 15 of the 17 acres to be buildable. So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay. But there would be no excess. It would all be used to...
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, let's get some clear direction here. I'm going to go to Mr. Janik. Anything else you want to add to this? I know you've been working on this. It's been a little bit of your project for the last couple of years. Anything that we should talk about now before we give direction?
I don't think so.
Okay. So what I'm hearing here, the consensus here is to go with the alternative 2B, and with the expense of Mr. Kanzler digging it deeper to that 23.5 acre feet. There's got to be verbiage in a contract or an ordinance that comes before us that dedication of those credits are given to that, solely to that 17 acres only, where it doesn't get sold off somewhere else because somebody else has ownership. That is dedicated to that 17 acres there. You got in the bridge? I don't know, guys. We're going to have to figure it out. I mean, Mr. Shapiro made reference that you guys are talking about that. Ownership versus non-ownership of the maintenance of that pumps and everything else. I mean,
we'll have to consider.
Let's consider that. But I think right now to have the village pay for the bridge is an issue, a serious issue. I can see the need for it. I personally have a problem. We've gone through the neighborhoods. It's going to be a nightmare. And too bad we didn't have the specs on this thing for a bridge to be part of the bid process as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the genesis of showing the Hall Road and the bridge, because it's 3,000 loads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we thought this would be beneficial to everyone to do it this way.
Okay. Am I missing anything?
Won't the savings, the trucking savings that Mr. Kanzler would recognize be able to offset some of the cost of that bridge?
Well, it was stated it was a 4-month project. With that bridge there, we'll probably cut it down almost half. Is that correct? What I was told in the meeting?
That's what we were told. It will cut down the time. There's no doubt about that.
You're cutting down labor, you're cutting down time, you're cutting down mileage, you're cutting down maintenance on the vehicles. You're probably saving $125,000.
I don't disagree that there's going to be savings to Mr. Kanzler. And that's why what I think is that with this route and with the bridge, it helps everyone. It will help the village, it will help the residents of Picardy, it will help Mr. Kanzler. And I do think it's probably the best case scenario. Relative to the cost of the bridge, that's certainly something that we're willing to discuss and be open to. We recognize, Mr. President, your concern.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Trustee here.
But just remember, though, those are village-owned streets, and the village should say, you're not taking the trucks down those. Do you see what I'm saying? So go back to Mr. Kanzler and say to Mr. Kanzler, let's work on this bridge idea with the village. Because when you sit up here and you tell us, oh, he's going to run it down, go through residential areas, he's going to go through that other part. Again, that's wear and tear on the village streets.
Right.
The village is going to say, probably, no. Because who's going to maintain those streets once they start deteriorating?
Right.
So there's other issues here, long-range issues, and we're trying to work with him, and I know he's trying to work with us.
Right.
The other thing, too, is I'd like to see, Mr. President, a timeline on this, to have it completed, all the equipment removed from Lake Cook and Milwaukee, because people have been saying they've set up shop there. He's running a business off that lot.
As we discussed before, this project can be done paying in mind your request by the end of construction.
I just want to make sure.
And we can put those timelines in the development agreement, no problem.
And I like it. I want the project completed, I really do. But I just don't want it to be continued and continued and continued.
Understood.
Thank you.
Well, I have faith in both attorneys could sit down and come up with an agreement. You know, we talked about a lot of things today regarding the property, who wants to own it, who wants to maintain it. Maybe there's some compensation there regarding the bridge versus the property. I don't know. You guys can work that out. But you know what? This is an opportunity, and I think we got one shot at this to do this. This is village property that will never be built on other than comp storage. And if we all have visions regarding Milwaukee and Lake Cook corridor being developed, this is the time to do it. I also like to get a consensus from the board to give direction to staff to start working on this permanent bridge where it should be on Wolf Road, and at least start with the permitting and engineering process of this, because that's another thing that was promised based on the archives 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that never got done. And I think, you know what, we need to move forward with that, because that is a time-consuming project, and staff needs to really start working on it. So with the consensus of the board, if everybody's all right with that, Mark, I hate to throw that at you, but we've talked about this, and I think it's something we need to get going on versus waiting to the last minute. Development comes, and we got to worry about going through the process of trying to put a bridge to get to that development, or whatever recommendations you may have with your engineers. So if everybody's good with that, you got your direction on that. I think you got the option B, what we're talking about. I think it's clear that the credit should be dedicated to that 17 acres, and then an agreement regarding the bridge or something worked out regarding the maintenance of that, the pumps and the land and what we're going to do. I'm going to leave it up to the two attorneys to put their heads together to do that. But we need to expedite it, because that corner needs to be leveled. We don't want to see mountains there. You're going to add mountains to it, the mountain's got to be gone. It really has to be gone, guys. All right? So let's work together and expedite this thing and move forward.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Can I make one comment?
Yeah.
Relative to Trustee Here's comment relative to the bridge, I just want to point out, and notwithstanding the confidence that the petitioner's attorney has, but that temporary bridge does require a permit from governmental agencies that are outside our sphere. And the bid, as was mentioned previously, the bid did not include this bridge because it was a requirement of, the bid that was provided by the village did not include access to adjacent person's property to get to the site. It's just not possible for us to publicly bid a project like this. So the expectation was using village streets for the bid. I just want to point out that there's a possibility, and I don't know if they want to hear it or anybody else, but there's a possibility that permit for a bridge going across the diversionary channel
May take forever, or be denied.
I have no control over what ID&R and Corps of Engineers thinks about something like that. So, just so we're all clear, the public bid did reflect some route to remove soil and material from our site, and the only way to do that is to use village streets. I just want to point that out. There's the possibility that permit for a temporary bridge, believe me, it's not uncomplicated. Just want to point that out.
Mr. President?
Yeah, we just have to move forward, Mr. President, and we just have to move forward. Irregardless, let's just move forward.
Fine, I completely agree. I'm just pointing that out.
There's a good possibility IDOT shouldn't even get involved in this. It's only a temporary bridge on private property on a temporary road. It's not even IDOT's concern, really.
Maybe the Army Corps.
The Army Corps.
Corps might be.
ID&R.
And then if we do pay for it, or however it goes, do we need any footpaths on the Buffalo Creek?
Yeah, but they're going to pay access.
We'll own a bridge afterwards, right?
Bridge over. If I could just offer this, and I appreciate the words of your CD director. If we're going to get the engineers in the room, and if it's going to take permitting and take time, I don't think you guys want a delay, and I know we don't. So if we find out that it's going to take more time than we anticipate, then, we can just haul the trucks in any agreed upon pathway on the public roads that the village wants. I mean, we really have just those two alternatives if we want to have this project move forward. And we can do it during certain times or, in a way that would minimize the disturbance. Happy to do that. But it's either going to be with the bridge, hopefully in an easy, quick way, or on public streets that the dirt's going to have to be moved. We're willing to do one or the other.
Probably could.
Again, you know what, I had said earlier that we have one shot at this. MWRD has changed their guidelines and the way they do business now. And if we don't have something on the books and something planned and something moving over there, we're going to lose out and we'll never be able to do this.
We're ready to move.
So, guys, work it out. I think you got the consensus of the board. We're in favor of doing something with this land, and the ball's in our court and yours. So, let's get it together.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, official communication. Let's start with Trustee Lane. Anything today?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I reported that the airport was entertaining a 5K to run on the airfield, and that has been approved by the FAA, so we'll be doing that August 30th.
Oh, cool.
And registration and all that is to come in details.
Thank you. Trustee Vogel?
Nothing, thank you.
Trustee Hind?
Nothing this evening.
Trustee Kruger?
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Trustee Here?
Nothing, thank you.
Trustee Brady?
Only thing I have to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day because it'll come before our next meeting. So, moms, thank you.
You wouldn't be here without us.
Clerk Simpson?
Nothing this evening.
Do we have a plant sale coming up, guys?
Yes.
On May 17th.
Thank you. Why don't you announce that one?
Ken, you want to do it or you want me to do it?
Okay, yeah. May 17th, the Garden Club's having your plant sale. Importance is a new location. Instead of being on the corner of the North Gate and Dundee, we're going to be in the Circle Drive at St. Joseph's, Saturday, 17th, from 8 a.m. till noon. We'll have plants, annuals, perennials, hanging plants, a couple birdhouses or something. I don't know what the doodads are going to be, but we are certainly going to have some nice-looking plants to come help the Garden Club in Wheeling. We'd appreciate your business and come see us, have some fun.
Thank you. Manager Svandos?
Thank you. There will be an opportunity for sentimental speeches when we honor him with his own day in the village. There will be an opportunity to roast him when he has his retirement party. However, during this meeting, we realize that this is the last official board meeting that we will have our deputy police chief present, as he has announced his retirement, and I think it only appropriate that in a formal setting such as this, that we give him a standing ovation and thank him for his years of service.
He's never been shy.
You can get a walk that easy? Come on.
Yeah,
You've
never been shy before.
Who said give a speech?
Wow.
Yeah.
You can sing if
President
you'd like.
Argyris called me up, but yes, I did announce my retirement in June, and I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to have served this village for a little over 30 years now. Started in college and was given a great opportunity by my predecessors as chiefs as well as village board members. And I can honestly say that the chief I now serve has been a blessing to me, has been a wonderful mentor. I've learned a lot from him. I will never achieve that level that Chief Bill Benson has shown me and shown this village, but he's been a great leader, and this village is very, very, well, more than blessed, but in competent hands with Chief Benson. I want to thank him as well as staff members here. They've been a great group to work with, and I could go on, but thank you very much for allowing me to serve this community and the wonderful people that, like George Heber here, who I'm glad is still alive to this day. So, thank you very much.
John, thank you.
Thank you, John.
John, you've been a good friend to this entire community. You know what? You're going to be missed. You're going to really be missed. Thank you. Thank your family, too. Your wife, your kids. It's great. Just a couple things. In observance of Memorial Day, the Cook County Recorder of Deeds is encouraging veterans to have their DD-214 military discharge records recorded in order to keep them safe. Recording these documents is a great way to safeguard hard-earned benefits for service members and their families. I received a letter from the Recorder of Deeds today and asked that I remind everybody, since Memorial Day is coming up, and to do that. Happy Cinco de Mayo Day, happy Mother's Day to all our mothers. Question, maybe soon in a workshop we could talk about the dog park that we had talked about that I haven't seen anything on, so maybe that's coming in June, I would hope. And I think that's it. I think that's it right now. And again, just to remind everybody, over by AMVETS, as you saw tonight in the agenda, we'll have the parade, Memorial Day Parade, starting at 10 o'clock on McHenry Road on Monday, the 26th. So we're looking forward to a nice event for them, and thank our friends at AMVETS. So with that, I entertain a motion to approve the bills for April 17, 2014 through April 30th, 2014.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Hare, second by Trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, we do have an executive session to discuss pending, probable, and/or imminent litigation. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Hare, second by Trustee Hein. Roll call.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes. We'll go into executive session at 8:40. Thank you.